Hello there, I'm Lizzie and I hope you're having a good day so far. For today's video, I wanted to share some of my foam pumpkin DIY ideas with you. I hope to give you some inspiration for this holiday and I hope that you have fun crafting this year. For project number 1, I'll be painting my first Dollar Tree foam pumpkin. I'll be painting this all black with this acrylic black paint I got from Walmart. Once it dried, I took this really pretty sparkly mesh from the Dollar Tree. I really like how it looks on the pumpkin, but I thought that one layer of it wasn't enough, so I folded it about 2 times and made a cut. I didn't measure the width of it, but luckily the length of it was perfect, so I didn't have to worry about that. But the width I wasn't really too worried about. I just knew that I didn't want it too big and too small. Then I hot glued the mesh at the top of the pumpkin and the bottom. You want to be careful when doing this because the hot glue will go through the mesh, so you want to use something to protect your fingers, and I do have the hot glue gun on low heat. When the hot glue dried, you can kind of see it through the mesh, but that wasn't a problem because I went back and painted over the hot glue with black paint. Now I have a bag of feathers I got from Walmart. It was on rollback for about $1 and I'm going to glue some of that to the pumpkin. I wanted this pumpkin to have a pattern of different textures, so I chose 4 different textures for this, and I think they kind of all work together very nicely. Next, I added some bling. This is also something I found at Walmart, and with this I just measured and cut 1 strip of it, and like the mesh, you want to be careful when hot gluing it on because the hot glue will kind of go through it, but it wasn't that bad and I still had the hot glue gun on low heat. I added some shelf liner to my pumpkin. I just recently learned that this stuff is called shelf liner. I'll be honest and say I'm probably going to forget again what this stuff is called, but I know right now it is called shelf liner. Now, I'm going to paint it black. They do make black ones, so this step can be skipped if you find it in black somewhere out there into the world, but yeah, I had to paint mine black. Just like the other ones, you want to be careful when hot gluing this on because the hot glue will go through, so just keep in mind to be careful. So this is going to be my pattern, and I'm going to repeat this pattern 2 more times. I really love the look of this so far. It kind of gives me that Cruella de Vil vibe. I think it looks pretty cool so far. I wanted the stem to be fun and different like the pumpkin, so I had to make the stem myself. I ended up using this clay mold I purchased online at Walmart online. I really like this stuff. It's easy to work with and it dries fast. I'm a beginner at clay molding, so this worked well for me. So the first thing I did was wrap some of the clay mold around the stem, and I worked with the clay mold to try and make the stem kind of look like a witch's hat. Well, at first I wasn't sure how I wanted this stem to look, so it took me some time to figure that out. And because this clay mold dries fast, I had to put some water on the clay in order to keep working with this. When I finally got the look I wanted, I used a skewer to make some lines going down the stem so it has more texture. After that, I painted it white. I was going to just leave it white, but it just wasn't happy with it, so I decided to make a shadow effect with it. So I mixed some black paint in there, and I kept painting until I had something I was happy with. I ended up with this cool stripe thing going on that makes me think of Nightmare Before Christmas. For pumpkin number 2, I'll be using one of Dollar Tree's skeleton hands. I wanted this to look like the hand was holding the pumpkin, so I tried bending the hand as much as I could. It didn't really work like I wanted it to, but I still like the outcome of it. I took it outside and spray painted it with my gold spray paint. For this project, I will also be using one of Dollar Tree's LED candles. I'm going to measure the candle around the top of the pumpkin. The tip I have for this part is to not measure right against the candle, because you do want some space to fit your candle. I forgot to do that. I forgot to leave some space so my candle can fit easily in, so I'm gonna go back and cut some more of the foam off so I can fit the candle better. In order to measure this, I did have to cut the stem off. I forgot to put that part in, but you can see my son has the stem. He's pretty distracting, I know. Sorry. So then I just simply cut out my measurement, and I wanted to show you what the candle is going to look like inside the pumpkin. Now I'm going to spray paint the candle too, but before I do that, I used tape to cover the candle light. What I'm doing now is using black acrylic paint to separate 3 sections. Each section will be a different pattern. The first section will be black with orange polka dots. I waited for the black paint to dry before adding the polka dots. I like to say polka dots. Polka dots. Polka dots. Okay, sorry. This would probably be easier with a paint pen, but I don't have one. The second section will be orange with black zigzags. I had to give the orange 2 coats of paint before adding the zigzags. Zigzags, zigzags, zigzags. Oh, okay, I'm doing it again. I'm sorry. The third section will be a diamond checkered pattern. First, I painted on the white, and after that dried, I painted the diamond shapes. The first time I tried gluing it to the center of the palm of the hand, but it didn't work out, and you kind of see the mess up. There was this small gap and the glue couldn't reach the pumpkin, so then I had to hot glue around the edge of the palm of the hand. Hot gluing the pumpkin to the skeleton hand is really optional because it does sit nicely on the hand without having to glue it on, but I didn't want my kids to run off with the hand, so I had to glue it. I think this looks really cool. It didn't come out exactly the way I wanted it to, but I do love the colors. It's different, and I really want to go for different, and you don't have to put a candle in it. You can put your keys or paintbrushes, or you can hide some Halloween candy. I'm just saying, but the options are yours. For pumpkin number 3, I will be using these small skeletons you can find at the Dollar Tree. I wanted these skeletons to look as if they found a huge pumpkin to eat and they were all excited about it, so excited that they jumped into the pumpkin. My husband said it looked like the pumpkin was devouring the skeletons, So I guess it can go both ways. Okay, so the first step I took was painting the pumpkin orange. This is just the first layer of paint. Next, I cut the stem off, and then I made a hole at the back of what will be the back of my pumpkin. I made this hole so I can fit the LED lights in. Now I'm going to take 3 of those plastic skeletons and I'm going to cut them into the pieces that I want to use. The rest of the pieces I can just save for another project. I hot glued them on with the Gorilla Hot Glue, and I wanted to place them in a way that looked like they were having fun in the pumpkin, but my husband said they looked like they were being attacked by the pumpkin, or devoured by the pumpkin, I should say. So I guess it's just how you want to look at it. I used a pencil to poke some holes so some light can shine through. I ended up making more holes later on because it just wasn't enough light coming through for me. Now I'm just painting my skeletons white. So here's the more complicated part for me, which is figuring out the colors I want to use for the pumpkin, because I change my mind often, and this happens sometimes when something doesn't feel right and I keep working on it until it just feels right to me. So I kept changing the colors around. I thought about using having it all black, or maybe having it black and brown, or maybe just changing it completely and making it green, but none of it felt right. And then I ended up sticking with the black, but then also still having orange, so then it kind of looks like a mixture, a blend of black and orange, and it did a little bit ended up kind of looking like a yin and yang thing. I didn't intend to do that, but in a way it kind of looks like that, and I do like this though. I like the combination of it, and I think it looks interesting. The last step was just making the stem, and I'm using one of the stems from the Dollar Tree, and then I just painted it gold. I put one of Dollar Tree's LED Halloween lights inside, and that was it. This is how it looks before I added more holes to it. And this is how it looks now. I really love how these little pumpkins turned out. I think they came out super cool looking, and they're different, and I just really adore them. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope that you stop by the next video. I want to do 2 more Halloween videos. So if you still like Halloween videos, please join me next time. Thank you. Bye.